font that says that one of the actions that we have taken was to approve covering visas.
Okay, but I assume that I should, or you, but one of us should write to those priors and share.
A visa, not visas.
Can I make a suggestion that before we make a motion, let me try to get online to the US Department of State and see what all this might cost.
Yeah.
And
That's a
then
great idea.
Good
we
idea.
can talk about it a little more
I think
intelligently.
we'll be surprised that it's more expensive than
That's what I'm
$200.
thinking.
It might be.
I think it's liable to be more like 500.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a good signal and go on the Department of State.
So we dropped the connection, which dropped the recording, so would somebody please summarize the conversation in the last 10 minutes so we can have it on the record?
I'm happy to do that.
Okay, we are discussing the visit by Brother Ador Tolentino to our October retreat. He is in the Philippines, and he's requested that we pay for his visa to come to the United States. Brother George began to offer a motion that we pay up to $200 for his visa to visit us in October. Brother Daniel seconded that motion, and in the discussion that followed, we decided that Sister Jeanette should go to the U.S. Department of State and find out what the fees are before we make a motion and before we decide to do anything.
So I will table the discussion until after we get that information.
Yes, yes. I do have a question though about the brother who moved to Pennsylvania. He called me as soon as he got here, and he
I
said,
live in Illinois.
yes, yeah, okay, as soon as he arrived, and he's here now, very much was supportive, sent in a donation and all of that. My only concern with the Philippines chapter is after Sister Elizabeth and Brother Daniel visited, they mailed in a list of life-vowed people with no contact information. So I just have this list, and they assume that they're in our membership directory, but I can't put them in there if I don't have any. So I'm trying to get the word out that we need email address, and that the doxology is now digital. We're not mailing it anymore because it's at least $9 an issue to mail it.
Yeah.
And it's way too expensive. So Brother Jonathan has arranged for a digital copy, which I think, does that go on the website? No? We're trying to get it out through the font, and it probably should go on the website, I guess, somewhere, that it's available to whomever outside the US wants it. That's something we need to work on too, but you know, it's a disappointment to them.
Can I send that to
Please.
our priors in other countries?
Absolutely.
Just say we really would like contact information for all of your members.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
Individual members.
And I just need emails, because we're not gonna do any more
Okay.
mailings. They've gotta go to the website and.
And
do
in
what
some
they do.
cases, they have to go to a neighboring town in order to get a website connection.
Yes,
So it's not
I know it's
necessarily
hard,
easy,
yeah.
but that's, they will have an email address, whether or not they access it frequently is another thing.
The fees for visitor visas for business or tourism is increased from 160 to 185. It is less than I thought.
Yeah.
okay,
So the motion as it stands would cover that.
okay, let's forget, I'm going to
Yes.
contact.
There's other things to consider in terms of who else we might cover costs of.
And I'm wondering, maybe we ought to put off this decision until we know where we stand on all of that.
Does the
There's-
website tell us the time frame at all?
It just went up. That's effective this month. That's an increase.
No, but the time frame,
I meant the time frame for getting one.
like when you apply, when do you,
Not that I saw. It doesn't mean it didn't. I think we have two choices. We can, knowing the number, we can go ahead and take this off the table and do it. Or we can keep this on the table and then put an amendment on it to cover the registrations.
I think that's the way I would choose to do it.
3 months in advance to their intended date of travel.
Okay, so 90 days. That helps, thank you.
That's for the application for the visa?
Yeah, they recommend, this is through a travel website, I can scroll down and find something official, but they say, we recommend highly that applicants start the application process 3 months in advance of the intended date of travel.
It's anything like the US Passport Service, it'll take all of those 90 days. Passport can take forever.
I'm not hearing any movement to take this off the table, so we will leave this on the table until we have further discussion.
Are we able to vote on that via email anymore, or just take the action? I don't want to like delay getting that done if we decide to do it.
I think,
I think we were delaying until after we hear from the chancellor.
Well, they already,
We can untable it after the chancellor's report.
Yeah.
what are we doing? We'll have to take,
Untable the motion until after your
Okay.
report.
Remove it.
I'll do that, okay.
but we'll take it off the table and act on it
All
as a
right.
group. And
I detected a note of
I didn't mean to
panic
make
there.
us confused, but I was not the only one confused.
No, I'm often confused.
So we will, we will, for the time being, leave that on the table. Is there any other question for Sister Heather?
Please, no.
Sister Heather, what is the meaning of life?
I think I recall it was
It
42.
is 42.
42.
Thank you. Now all the questions are.
Okay.
Oh, no, not again.
Thank you, Sister Heather, and we will move on to Brother George's report.
All right, I'll start with the Hickman Award. We have 17 of our 19 seminaries that we have listed who are providing the Hickman Award somewhere between April 14th and May 20th. I just got an email message from our ceramic artist that the one to Dallas is on its way.
Oh, good.
So by the time you get home, it should be there. And our artist is E. Preston Rice, and he does a wonderful job every year. I have an image of it somewhere here, I think in this, my tablet. But each recipient is a graduating student who's shown exceptional ability in liturgical scholarship or exceptional ability in leading worship. Is there a Hickman Award winner in the house? Yay!
Am I the only one?
I knew there was at least
Scott
one. Is Scott? No.
I don't know who got it, no,
Sister Heather Goddess was one. What's her
Deborah
name?
McKnight got into.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, at any rate, one of the awards being presented this year is to, it's going to be a ceramic bowl, not a bowl and pitcher, but a ceramic bowl, who's being offered it, and it's being presented to a Christian Scientist student who is going to be going into chaplaincy. And it would be much more effective for her to have a bowl, and she wouldn't need a chalice, so a chalice and paten. As we've done the last several years, I would like your permission to invite Hickman Award recipients to this year's retreat.
Absolutely.
We actually had two this last year. Previous years, we've had one, but we had two. And so I put that before you for common agreement.
Yes.
Do we invite them and fund their registration or just invite them?
I send a letter in the summer that invites them, it gives them more information about who Hoyt Hickman was, that Daniel put together. And I give them a registration form and invite them to, for covering their registration cost. Does that answer your question?
So we do cover their,
Pay
Yes,
registration.
Just
we
the
pay,
registration.
okay, good,
yes, we pay their registration
Yeah.
got it.
retreat costs.
They pay their own.
They pay their own transportation, right? Okay, so
Since that was recommended by an officer, we don't need to have a second. If you support sending a letter and offering Hickman Award winners retreat pay, please indicate by raising your hand. I believe it is passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Our annual retreat is being held October 16th through 19th. And by the way, all of this is in my prior general's report in the book of reports. And there's a page there that describes who our speaker is. Debbie Thomas, some of you know some of her writing through Christian Century or Journey with Jesus weblog, or her book, Into the Mess, and other Jesus stories. It's a wonderful little volume. It's really good. So I invite you to encourage members in chapters that you're a part of, or other members in the order that you know, send them information about Debbie and invite them to come to retreat. We are going to be meeting here at St. Paul's for the retreat, and also next year for both the spring council meeting and the retreat. And I'm going to give you the dates to put in. The May spring council meeting will be the week of May 12th through the 17th.
So 2024.
2024.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the dates?
Between May 12th and 17th. The specific dates, that's the week they're holding for us. Specific dates will come out as we refine travel dates, schedules, and things like that. I'm going to say something more about that in just a minute, but scheduling the May meeting was the tough ones. Our October meeting, the retreat of 2024, is going to be the week of the 14th through the 17th of October. I can go slower if I need
you to go slower.
I will.
October 14th?
October 14th through 17th, that week.
You got close to St. Luke.
And what got close, St. Luke's Day is on a Friday, and so we'll have to do St. Luke transfer.
So goofy.
Could you repeat the retreat this year dates?
Retreat this year, 2023, October 16 to 19. Now, in giving you those dates, let me tell you what I was asked to work around. And there are at least 3 people, 2 of whom are in the room, who have institutional graduation and commencement kind of things that happen around this time of year. And I was trying to coordinate with Massachusetts, Texas, and Notre Dame in Indiana. And they're all on 3 different weeks. So I've chosen the week that will impact Notre Dame, which means we may miss having Brother Jonathan Hain with us again next spring, or he may be able to join us online. But that will, based on the information I've gotten from those involved, that's the best date to choose, I think.
Thank you.
So that is a consideration. And next year's retreat is, with the help of Brother Dan Benedict, we have engaged Dr. Gordon Lathrop to come to be our guest presenter. In late March, Daniel and I and Gordon all met on Zoom so that we could be introduced to one another. And he was very enthusiastic about being our retreat presenter.
Good.
And I'm not sure yet if he's honed his topic or not, but he said he would get us information about that, and hopefully in time to announce it at next year, or this year's retreat. What am I missing?
Did you give us the location?
It will be here.
It'll be here.
So, okay.
You need to know the juxtaposition.
Right.
Juxtaposition is his favorite word.
Yes.
Well, I think assembly is also his favorite
That's
word.
true, too.
That's true.
Recently.
The
And that's
juxtaposed
what
assembly.
he will be, I think, dealing with assembly, and he has a book of that title. That's what he's really been working on the last few years, and he has a very rich take on that. I think-
Is that the word for the drinking game? Assembly!
Perhaps justification.
Just a good
Just a
position?
position to make it a little
So we
more
don't get
sober.
tanked?
Otherwise,
Very good.
we'll be gone pretty
You would
soon.
think you couldn't put that in every sentence, but I assure you we can.
No, he is so good, he is so good. We should share news of this far and wide, because
That
he
sounds
is,
fun.
yeah, he's one of the greats out there.
And I was trying not to hone his topic too clearly so that I set you up for something he's not going to deliver. So I'm going to wait to hear more from him about a specific topic and his approach. There are, when I said Hickman Award, I forgot that I wanted to share. I got a very, very wonderful thank you note. A very special thank you with sincere appreciation is the card, what the card says. Dear Reverend Crisp, this thank you is long overdue, but the sentiment of gratitude I have carried in my heart since receiving the Hickman Award as a graduating student from Palmer Theological Seminary, where Sister Braun is teaching and will be retiring this year. The certificate of recognition, the beautiful patent and chalice, and the generous invitation to the annual retreat have touched my heart deeply. These tokens of love bear witness to your commitment to Jesus, to worship, to community, and to faithful discipleship, scholarship, and liturgical practice. I am honored, humbled, grateful, and inspired by the Order of St. Luke's care, generosity, and outreach. Please pass along my gratitude to your team as well, I look forward to continued learning, teaching, and practice, and to deepening connection with the Order of St. Luke in the years to come. May the good Lord bless you and keep you. Love in Christ, Karen Bennett, who is known to Sister Braun, but I want you to hear her words of gratitude.
Sounds like a good candidate.
Yeah, it's a very meaningful thing we do with the Hickman Award. So keep that up. We're going to keep that up. I have 2 items for discussion.
I think Brother Daniel had a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Do you get thank you notes from people, or is that unusual? or
That's a
do you
very
often-
unusual thing to get.
Okay, so you don't necessarily or usually get a thank you.
No. That's why I thought it was noteworthy and I wanted to read it. And that came last October. The last 2 things I want to talk about is something that I bumped into in getting this year's speaker together. I think we need to develop a clear policy that spells out our practice of covering a retreat speaker's travel expenses in addition to their honorarium. We have a history of doing that. We also have not done that from time to time. Some speakers have, thought that was part of what the honorarium covers, but that leaves not much honorarium. If it costs, $700 to get here and your honorarium's $1,000, you're not making much. Not that we're in it for the money, mind you. But I do think we need to have a firm policy that says we will cover the retreat speakers' travel expenses. We might say up to a particular limit if you want, but I'm not making that as a part of a motion. I'm making that as a recommendation and asking for discussion on the matter.
I would second the motion if it's made, so we can discuss it.
I move that we have the policy that we will reimburse travel at economy fare if it's flight. Maybe you don't want this much specificity, but,
Except I think there already is a motion.
oh, okay, that is the motion, all right.
But you can say what you were going to say. It's not a motion.
Oh,
It's already out here.
Well, it just seems to me it would be reasonable to be clear that we're not going to give first class fare. It's an economy fare, or we'll reimburse them for mileage if they're driving here from a reasonable distance.
Or taking a train or something.
Yeah.
I would accept that as a friendly amendment with the maker.
No problem, no problem. I don't know if we need to set a dollar limit to that, but, or the idea of doing an economy fair is a way of saying that without naming a dollar amount.
And keeps us open to changes and without needing to redo the policy.
Right.
Maybe it's not worth adding in there, but I do think we're wise if we can consider location and speaker in connection with one another, so that if there's someone we're really looking forward to, you know, maybe we could have that person at a retreat that's closer rather than further.
We have tried to do that in terms of getting, like when we had Tweety Navarro come to us in Scottsdale, because she was in Arizona. And Gordon Lathrop is going to come from Washington DC, so
Yeah.
coming here. So there are just times when that's not possible for when we book speakers. So that's one of the most challenging parts of this job is booking speakers far enough in advance that they're available, but also fit into our schedule and proximity. So I do pay attention to that, but it hasn't always worked out that way.
Her airfare was about $850.
I thought it was $784, but,
No, it's,
okay, well.
And 58 cents.
well, that's because,
I'm trying to remember.
yeah.
I didn't bring that paperwork.
Oh,
Brother Mark, you looked like you were trying to say something.
oh, I often do.
Say something or look like.
No, look like I'm not. No, I was just gonna say that this has been one of those things that we've done kind of in a formal or semi-formal kind of way. For instance, you know, you often go, if I've got travel budget left from SMU, we let SMU pay, right? So there will not be anything, you know, for me for this meeting, because it's on the SMU budget, and I'm happy to let them to clear out that budget until the end of the year, because it ends on May 31, right? Right? So, but sometimes it's worked out that way. You know, when I spoke a couple years ago, you didn't have a travel bill because same thing. You know, so that's happening sometimes too. So we've kind of gotten gifted things that we didn't always know we were being gifted. You know, as an order from sister institutions. Yeah. That's all. Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, we do cover the cost of the retreat, the room and board for the guest speaker, or speakers plural, should they decide. When we had the iconographers here, they both live locally, so we didn't charge it.
And I was gonna say, just for the record, that's not a misuse either, because this is a meeting that they
No.
should be part of. Right. Right.
Have we adjusted our honorarium to be more reasonable? It used to, for a point of reference, it used to be $300.
It's 1,000.
It's 1,000 now.
Much
Yeah.
better.
We did bump it when we had 3 speakers so that we could offer them each a portion of the honorarium, but that was for our anniversary. And that cost us a little bit extra all the way around. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of those factors go into making some of this, it's the grease, it's how we grease the wheel. So I think we're ready for the motion.
And the motion that's on the floor is to offer to pay transportation up to economy airfare?
At the economy airfare rate. Is that the way you said it?
I'm not sure which way I said it, but that sounds good to me.
So even if they drove and the mileage only would cover $500, we'd give them $750.
No, up to.
I think, that's why I said up to.
At cost or up to?
Okay.
Okay.
Are you putting a figure in there?
I thought I heard you getting ready to put a specific number in there, and I was nervous.
All right.
So I just want to make sure we've covered it up to that rate,
Up to the economy rate?
economy airfare rate,
Okay.
I would probably say. in a fancy motion. Any further comments before we vote? Any questions? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand.
Okay.
I see none opposed, so,
Good, we have a
Yeah.
policy now that I can work with.
all right.
Second issue also has to do with commuters to retreat or meetings such as this. There's 3 in the room who are commuting, and the question is whether or not they need to register. We cannot, here at this retreat house, we cannot split meal costs from the room cost.
Oh, they don't do that anymore.
No, partly because we get such a wonderfully discounted rate here. John just gives it to us as a package.
Okay.
And so I've asked people to pay the amount of the meeting, even if you're commuting and not staying here, partly because you get reimbursed for the spring meeting to some degree, but also because we need to have a policy in place that deals with commuters no matter where we are. We had some people who commuted in when we were in Arizona, or a couple when we were in Texas several years ago. And in talking with John about how we work that out with how we pay the house here, his suggestion was that we have a commuting rate that was 1/3 discounted. So like if it was $300 to come here, you'd pay $200 as a commuter. And that was his suggestion. He says that's what they do when they have a parish retreat and people come from all over, and they get a discounted rate if they're commuting. They're not staying overnight.
That's a good idea.
That still presumes that you may eat some meals with us, and that still allows you, you can come to the meetings or whatever, but I would like to propose, and I guess this is a motion, that we have a policy that commuters to retreat or council meetings would pay 1/3 less than the amount charged for the meeting.
I need to ask for a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, a second for Mark and discussion.
So my only question, and then I just point out that, and this always comes up around NAAL also, that, you're not, in an event like this, you're not just paying for your room and your meals, you're also paying
For this.
this,
Yeah.
chapel, and all of that, which is part of what you have to be charged for, what they have to think about on their end. My only concern is, that's a particular piece which you have negotiated well with John. I wonder, wouldn't you have to renegotiate that with other places in its own way? That's my only concern about setting it. That maybe for now that works, or somehow, whatever can be negotiated. I don't know how to word that.
Tell me more about why we would need to, if we have it based on 1/3 of the registration fee.
Well, like if we go to Arizona and you ask them, what would you charge for a day participant, and they say 3/4.
That's it. Yeah, that's something that John suggested to you,
Right.
right?
So
It may
perhaps,
not be what another place would be happy with.
perhaps we don't set a particular percentage, but say that we'll have a residential rate and a day rate and work it out with the particular retreat center. Or Arizona might say we were going back there, might say 50%, right?
The challenge is, in places other than St. Paul, we do have to pay a room charge for the use of a meeting room, for the use of a chapel or an auditorium. Sometimes there's even a minimum number of retreatants in order to get a discount on those, or have it provided. With 50 people, you get this room. With 75 people, you get this room and this room. So like if we had breakout meetings or something like that. So those things get negotiated when we are setting up the retreats. And then when I know what the retreat center is going to charge us, let's say it's $350, I will add at least $100 onto that for the incidental costs of running the retreat, which may include everything from, supplies that we need to bring together, things that we need to buy for the retreat to happen.
The speaker.
The speaker may need something that,
No, I mean,
The speaker's.
doesn't the speaker's fee?
well, no, the
factor?
speaker's fee is part of
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Absolutely. So, and obviously the speaker's transportation now. So you get added on. And we were at bare bones, we barely made anything. We don't make money on retreats, we spend money on retreats. And especially in Arizona, that cost us,
I have it, if you wanna know.
Historically, if we go west, we lose.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And we've done that about once every 4 years.
Our retreat cost us $17,514.99.
In addition to the fees that came in, or that was the total
That was the
cost?
total due,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
And I think the last time we were here, it was 14,000 something.
Well,
What was the previous year?
the 17,000 included the deposit. So that,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we
And
had
some
to make
places ask for a deposit,
a big one.
and this place doesn't, so.
No, this place doesn't, but Arizona does.
Brother Dan was trying to.
So, but if the total cost was 17,000, what, with registrations and all of the income that came in, what was the total
What was the net?
net cost?
Oh, that I don't know, I didn't break it down.
17,000 divided by 42 people,
Yeah,
if you want to look at it that way.
But we
No,
had
I think it's the
income.
gross number that they're looking at. If you take 17, take how much we took in and subtract
right,
it
subtract it from
from
this.
17,000.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
which I did not do because I had COVID, so I just didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
I'm just, I mean, that sounds like an astounding number, but
No.
I assume it was
Yeah,
not
well, I think the
more than
registrations
4,000 or
were
5,000 or something. yeah.
about wasn't it 450 to register or a little
I
more?
think so. 450. That sounds about
And how
right.
many people?
Yeah,
42.
based on, we had 14 and 24 is 38 people.
Yeah.
38, I thought we had 40.
So
might
you
have
took
had-
in 17,100, so we didn't lose a lot.
No,
What happened?
$900 was what it cost us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
plus the speaker and that sort of thing, which is probably not on that,
no,
is what you're looking
the
at.
speaker is,
But we regularly lost $4,000 going west for years.
We are not spendthrifts by any stretch of the imagination, but just in order to deal with the commuter question, we need to have some formula or some way of charging a slightly different rate for those who may not be staying at the retreat.
I would suggest now, is John suggesting you charge less, or is he charging you less?
No, he's saying that we should be charged, that we should charge less. Like I said,
That
if
his
our,
bill is what his bill is.
his bill is what it is.
Then what I'm gonna suggest the policy be is that you try to negotiate a commuter rate with each facility, but the answer is you can't get one.
Right.
And here, there's no program fee added on because it's just, the cost is in the budget, the registration is what the center charges.
and oftentimes when we sit down with John, he's like, well, I probably should have charged you for that, but I'm not gonna charge you for that, you're good customers, and blah, 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 blah. So sometimes we get out of here really well, and, and so sometimes I just overpay him because he's undercharged us. So, I'll sometimes tack on $100 or $200 because he won't charge us for this or that.
So would it be more appropriate to move, just to give George's position the leeway to make that distinction year by year, since it sounds like there's a lot of balls in the air?
I like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
yeah, I like
yeah.
that.
I think we should do that.
Can you make an amendment to the,
Sure.
that we can vote on?
So my amendment is that we give the prior general the leeway to
negotiate.
Yes, to negotiate or to adjust the fees for commuters as is possible and appropriate.
Is there a second to the amendment? There's a second. Is there discussion on the amendment?
It's a good idea.
Well discussed, brother, well discussed.
Are you okay with it? Or do you need to say anything?
I'm trying to understand how clear that is in my mind. But it sounds like I would negotiate a commuter rate where possible, like I couldn't do it here, but I could do it in other places. So that I would know what to charge them vis-a-vis charging everybody else.
So
Instead of coming up with a formula, we just give you the authority to do what makes sense.
yeah, my question is, who sets the price for the retreat? So that's completely up to you to set the price of the retreat,
It's up to me, well, first of all, it's
Based on
up to the
actual
retreat house,
but it's based on actual cost.
but it's based on actual costs.
Projected.
So you already have the authority you need to set the price. You can just have the authority to set the price on the commuter rate. I don't think we need anything other than you've got the authority.
But we need something in writing that says,
This is how we do it.
There will be.
this is how we do it.
I think if we're gonna try to fix a formula, whether it's 66% of actual cost or whatever, it's gonna never quite fit the actual needs.
Yeah, I don't want to get down to 375.23 cents, something like that. What was I gonna say? I know what I was gonna say. It only becomes a problem if there are more commuters than registrants.
Yes.
And by the way, even if you are a commuter, you need to register. I think we need to have a record of that, and not all commuters do that. So even though I ask for that, it doesn't happen.
I think, on the registration form, if you just put,
Commuter.
overnight accommodations, et cetera, or commuter rate.
Right.
And then if we give you the authority to negotiate whatever makes sense.
Well, they have to plan for the meals too, so that's why it's helpful if people register, then we can do a head count and say, okay, we need
And some
20
retreat
meals.
houses are very clear, breakfast is $12, lunch is
Right,
15,
right.
dinner's
Yeah.
35, or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's not
Sorry.
here.
But to Mark's point earlier, the commuter rate is not the sum of the meal charges,
Right.
Right.
It's not right.
because there are
There's other
common
costs.
charges that need to be contributed.
That's right, that's right.
Sister Heather?
I was just gonna say, Brother George, if you feel like you need to have something, then maybe we could have something along the lines of, commuters must register for retreats. The commuter price will be from half to 3/4 of the price of the residential participants, depending on the cost at the center. So,
But it might be full price too, which it has to be for here.
oh, yeah,
See, that's why I stay with David and Howard, because I think I'm saving the order money, but I'm not, because they've changed to not charging meals separately.
Right.
No.
We have an amendment, a motion and an amendment on the floor. I think if we could get those repeated so we know what we're
yes.
getting ready to vote on.
The motion would be,
Go ahead.
the motion would be that we have a commuter rate, a reduced rate for commuters at council or retreat. And then it's been amended, if I understand this correctly, to be a negotiated rate that I would make with the retreat center in question. Is that clear?
Yeah, I'll read it back in a minute.
But I think that avoids percentage numbers or dollar numbers, but it just is a general policy. And that way I know how to function. So they tell us it's gonna cost $375 to retreat, then I'm gonna charge you $475, but I might charge a commuter $400. But that, I'm not trying to gouge any commuters or shame any commuters, I'm just saying we need to have some clear way of dealing with that.
Let me read it back. Brother George made a motion which was amended by Brother Brett to have a reduced rate for commuters to attend council and retreat. This rate will be negotiated by the prior general, who will set the cost as needed. Does that sound okay?
I like that.
Okay.
Are we ready to vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor? And
Okay.
anyone opposed? That will be the policy. Thank you for bringing that to us, Brother George.
You're welcome.
Brother Jonathan voted for, Brother French abstained.
Okay, thank you.
I think he was just too lazy to raise his hand.
Can you hear that? Can you hear you?
Yes.
Oh.
We love you, Brother French.
Do you have anything else?
I think that's it for me, unless you have questions of me as your prior general.
Okay.
I just want to thank Brother George for all his work.
Yes.
It's most, I was just sitting here thinking, there's going to be a new prior general at some point, and
Well, having this
that
done-
man is going to be pretty important to that person as they try to figure out what the heck.
There's not
Sorry,
ever
George, you're
going
not
to
allowed to
be-
retire or stop doing
Because
this.
the Holy Spirit is gonna make George live forever.
Yes, like Lazarus.
That's right.
Yeah, well, nobody's making me live forever. I got news. 2024 is looking pretty good.
I think that is the end of Brother George's report. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's been a long time since coffee in. I
Need a
think,
break?
and please make this short, be back 5 minutes, but if it's 7, we won't count that against you.
Do we have mid-morning prayer somewhere?
We have it just before we break. We don't
I
have
didn't know.
mid-morning, we just have right
Well, we
before.
had mid-morning at 9, but we didn't have mid-morning, so I asked Brother Scott to move to midday before we go
Okay.
to lunch.
I was going to suggest that we take a short break, do another few reports, then do prayer and be done for the morning.
All right,
That sounds like a great plan.
you want to hold me off, or you want to do shorter reports?
It depends on whether you care if I'm here or not.
Great time.
You can do what you want.
Trying gently to tell us.
I think you stated facial discernment.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm running. Brother
Yeah,
George,
Samsung.
what is up with the Oh, it's terrible.
It's the worst thing.
Do you buy?
I will try to find John again and ask him.
I was gonna say, it's either Amazon or Wish.
It's pretty bad. I know, I had to.
Well, it's right there on the wall.
Oh,
Brother Jim,
it does take.
and I think you're right.
Mine takes good pictures if it's
Just
just
sure that I'm not crazy.
medium rain.
Yeah. You wanna see the kid?
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Like my grandsons, he loves to take pictures, I think, right up to the.
Oh, yeah?
Get your fingerprint.
Pensacola, the salt tone.
Here they are.
That's morning prayer.
I can talk to Jim about
You
that.
could just ask Jim.
Yeah,
I'd say
that's
maybe-
not even service anyway. All right, thanks.
How long have you had that?
A couple weeks, let's see, just over a month.
Very short gestation period.
Yeah, well, long in terms of 7 or 8 years, but
Okay.
short as far as notice. Yeah. That's kind of hurry up and wait.
Yeah, my friend has been fostering, and it's like, you gotta call him the next day.
Sometimes it's the same day.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy, forget about our little message, yeah, be like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do that wonderful mesh surgery, which is what I had that done. But still,
wish we could get water.
You want me to go get some?
Let me go get some.
Yeah.
Water and glasses.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Or I could just save an empty bottle and.
Well, I've been dragging this around all weekend. But my Epiglot, when I get nervous and I'm anxious because of the money, I get, so I start coughing.
The deer have not come back today.
Well,
At least not
this
yet.
is early for them.
Yeah, they like the night.
They usually come out.
They
at
like the nightlife, they like to party.
That's right.
And Boogie?
Dear Boogie.
They were pretty relaxed. That one just came down here and laid down and
Yeah,
slept.
that was,
Well, they're comfortable here.
He
This
just
is,
found a nice shady spot. and
this is
rested.
their home.
I just sent an email to you both. I wonder if we couldn't retreat out near Bend, Oregon. We've got,
A whole bunch of people out there.
huge bunch of people
Yeah.
joining, then number one, it would be really good for them to be present at retreat because they'll have a better sense of who we are. But number two, we might pick up 10, 15, 20 people.
Well, that's what I said to Brother David, please make sure they understand that we always appreciate a healthy donation,
Right.
because we are carrying the Philippines chapters.
Yeah.
They don't, now the ones who have moved to the United States, they donate,
That's nice.
but, yeah.
I will tell you my immediate negative response.
Yes.
So just take this as my immediate
Sure,
negative
sure.
response. I have no clue what the nearest airport to Bend, Oregon is, but I bet it's not close.
That's
Yeah, I
why
don't know. You're
you
right.
can't come to Jersey.
Fair enough.
There,
Is that this one person?
But I think we've got a lot of people spread out through the country, and if we can make it a little bit easier for them to get to retreat once, then they might be willing to come other times too.
I could see trying to get west, but I think we need west
Okay,
near
so.
an airport.
I'm sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know the geography out there at all. Right, we gotta make it possible for everybody else to get to.
Yeah.
But if it were drivable for them, then they might be apt to come.
Portland's a big city.
Portland's the biggest city in Oregon.
That's all right.
I'll be there. Be there in July to dance with it. I don't think I'll get to see much, but.
Would you like to be in a movie?
Brother Jonathan,
Yeah, I don't
you're
know
with
where
us.
Ben is.
Little cheesy.
Okay, so we should talk about his
Yes,
request.
is that part of your?
So
It
I'm fairly
can
certain
be,
that
yeah,
Gordon was one
We
of
could
my
have-
external
we could just
reviewers
have
when
him
I
do
was
his and
tenured
then
as
you
well.
do yours.
sure.
Yeah, people are terrible.
I have the board, or the email he sent me.
Was he?
Well, he was fine because I listened. Surprised me, now I'm.
Just we need to get us a little more serious.
We show our age.
And I should know
The
there's no
venerable
point in
me.
killing people 5 minutes.
When you said that, it was 14 after, and I said, yeah, we'll be back at 10:30.
And.
We're gonna start before 10:30, trust me.
We studied this back before.
Godfrey Dykeman? When Father got
Excuse me, gentlemen.
We're not gonna do that. Lunch. I'm wondering. It's always, I always enjoy,
Working on that first time as a companion.
when I'm asked,
Remember now, maybe that
hard
would
about
be,
people,
yeah.
And I'm also, because he was raising the question about.
Thank you.
We usually put it back there with the candy.
Right.
Anyway, I find it on that table.
I think people,
And that, that's perfect.
oh, I think she'll appreciate it.
I know, that looks great.
Oh, this is our.
Listen, you will kind of go get it, put it wherever
All
you
his
want.
grandchildren,
How do I get that?
That's the way I always said it. But we are good people to clean up after ourselves.
basically said, let me know that
Well, we will clean up after
there's
ourselves.
one place where you can
Yeah,
stand.
we will.
But George, do you need someone to figure out the boat thing? I'll try to look them up with that next time. Is that what they call it?
Are you willing to be the chancellor again?
then I gave them.
We've had quite a break.
But I used to like
You know what I do?
Andy's retired now. I know.
I need to go back.
So funny.
But they don't.
But he likes
Well,
it.
I just got a copy of his
So he-
new, he has a new piece on apostolic tradition.
No, yes.
If anybody
Based on
needs
the
water,
I've got
drink,
a chance to read it yet.
there are some pictures of water up here that whether Bob Jarbo went and got
That's
for
a
us.
good
Thank you,
idea.
Dr. Jarbo.
He's taking back the card. I know, over here.
Starting about 4 years ago.
But anyway.
Sister Jeanette, is there a digital version of your report anywhere?
This
No.
number is like.
They must discern it through the spirit.
I guess I could scan it in somewhere.
Can you just
I can
send
just take
a
a picture of
I
it.
had no idea.
file? Can you just send
He
me
came
the
to
file?
me.
Yeah, I can do that.
The only part of her report that's in the book of reports is the reimbursement policy.
So.
She,
His wife.
Brother Scott, she can send you the file.
When they moved to Texas.
Well,
Brother
this-
Jonathan wanted it
His
on
wife
Zoom.
imposed a
Ah,
oh, I'm sorry.
On their house, right?
The only part of her report that is in the book of reports is the reimbursement.
I need a hard drive.
That's it.
And that's online.
Yeah.
And it's
Because we
all
are,
my pleasure.
That's what I mean.
I just couldn't get this done. In time to have.
They're all big fans of it, it's very
Okay,
cute.
let me get Jonathan's email. Folks, please don't forget to fill these out so that I can reimburse you.
Have you handed those ones out too?
No, they're on the back table.
Oh,
Silly.
I'll come together.
What am I missing? Oh, my.
Can we get started again, please?
We're trying to herd these cats.
He needs, I need to deal with his request. I got his email.
Oh.
His request, since he's online. Which is this, I found what he sent me last year.
Next on the agenda would have been Sister Jeanette, although I think, Brother Jonathan, are you with us?
I have it muted.
Oh, never mind, we have to unmute you. Unmuted now?
I just sent.
All right. I was going to suggest that we move to your action item and report if that's okay with you.
Totally fine.
So I think the floor is yours. What are you reporting and asking?
Okay, let me scroll to my report first.
Excellent.
Page 13.
Okay. All right, thank you, got it. So the thing, I'll only address the things that are in bold because the other things I'm assuming people can read. But I'll just start by saying I've got I think more or less back on track with scheduling. This past year has been a very difficult one for me personally. So it put me really, really behind on the last two issues of 2022, but those are out. So 2023 is in process. All of the content for the Lent history is I just emailed the team yesterday, kind of tidying up some things and getting that into layout and design. So more or less back on track now with timing. But the two things I'll bring to the council's attention are one that after having, let's see, when did we transition to doxology merging into sacramental life? That was as of the beginning of 2021. We decided to do a 4 issues per year kind of setup. So having 4 issues a year mirrored what we were doing with sacramental life. But at that point, we weren't really sure whether the submissions to doxology, which take significantly, which are more involved for a lot of them because they undergo peer review, whether we'd have enough of a stream of submissions to make that work. And I think we're right on the threshold right now. We have a pretty steady stream of submissions, but not enough to where I'm turning away a terrible lot of articles. I've maybe turned away 2 or 3, I'd say, over the course of these past 2 years or 2.5 years. So that just makes me wonder whether having 4 issues a year is still the best course of action, or whether we should move to 3 times a year. So that would result in each issue being a little bulkier and a little more substantial, probably save some costs, and allow us to have kind of a more controlled timeline of things and a higher probably level of article writing on the whole. On the other hand, there has been an increase in submissions. So, if it continues to increase as it has been, then we might be okay with 4 times a year. And we've had a good interest in subscriptions. So that's great. And I think that'll continue to increase as the word continues to get out and I continue to build up the mailing list a little bigger and bigger. And we've had a lot of good crossover with NAAL membership. I was kind of strategic in the people that I selected to be peer reviewers on the journal. So there were a lot of obvious people and a lot of OSL folks, but I also targeted a lot of kind of younger professionals who had teaching posts, because I figured they would be active in leadership in their organizations, such as NAAL, and that's been the case. So like a couple of peer reviewers right now are also kind of officers for NAAL, and kind of there's a good natural overlap there. So that's kind of worked in our favor. So that's the one thing, is whether to consider 3 times a year versus 4 times a year. And the other thing, and this is something I know Sister Jeanette has just mentioned a few minutes ago, is I've made a call now the last couple of meetings, so this one and as well as the spring and fall of 2022, to consider hiring somebody, not just for doxology, but for kind of OSL publications in general on a part-time basis, to just help bolster the business side of things, to handle things like subscriptions, which takes a lot of just kind of detail-oriented legwork, kind of customer service issues, and really to help with marketing for both the books and the journal, so that we can just kind of get the things out there a little more regularly. Since I don't know how long it's been since we've had a distributor. If memory serves, we used to use Asbury as a distributor for our books. Is that correct?
Asbury?
Some time ago.
We're all looking kind of blank.
Cokesbury.
No, Cokesbury, sorry, not as, sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Cokesbury, did they not?
Now we speak that language.
Yeah, so did Cokesbury not used to distribute all of our books and such?
No, they never did. They bought some from us.
They bought some, okay. So for some reason, I was under the impression we used to have a distributor that handled like marketing and stuff. But in any case, that is to say, I think.
Brother Mark.
Yeah.
Discipleship Resources, we tried to have a relationship with them circa 2009 and 10. It went bust, it didn't work, but we tried.
Okay, so that's something that's hard on us because we're such a small publisher that it's really hard for us to get our stuff out there. So that for that reason, I think having a staff person that's devoted to that kind of thing would really help, just kind of make some good sense, money-wise, and workload-wise for those of us that are kind of stretched thin with handling those kind of things. So that's those are my 2 things. And there's one more thing that's kind of a back burner issue, which is we still have just a few issues of Sacramento Life that have not yet been digitized. And we were working kind of when the pandemic hit to make some of those physical issues available to me so that I could get them digitized. We're finally back to normal on my end so that I can use student worker hours to digitize those things. I just need to have the physical copies of the ones that are missing. So that's a back burner issue, but I think we could complete that archive pretty soon and then just have that forever for people. So those are my 3 things: the call for a part-time person, whether to move to 3 times yearly production schedule, and
Yeah, we can.
Brother Jonathan, do you have a job description
it sounds like you have it sort of in your head, but I wonder if it wouldn't be helpful for us to know to have a job description or a position description for this part-time
For the-
person.
Yeah, so I sent Sister Jeanette something last year. I think she has that in hand. She requested that of me again a couple of weeks ago. So I'll defer to her on that.
Let me take a minute to share that with you. I think we should consider hiring someone quarter-time. For that, who would be responsible for overseeing, number one, the print production of all of our books and periodicals, 2, the marketing of our materials, 3, the management of sales and subscriptions, and 4, possibly finding grant or funding to offset some of our costs. My feeling is that if we hire the right person and they are able to promote better sales or grant funding, they would at least partially pay for themselves. I have zero expertise in crafting that kind of job description, but I'm hoping the council might consider it in any case, and I'd be happy to help as needed. I would assume 12 to 15,000 per year for quarter-time employment, ? Now, let me add my 2 cents to this whole thing of employment. I don't know what they do in Indiana where Brother Jonathan is located, but in New Jersey, if I hire Brother Daniel as my assistant and I say to him, I want you to work 3 days a week and I want you to do this way and in this manner and report to me at the end of the week what you've done so that I can let the council know, I'm giving you direction, specific direction. So therefore you become a W-2 employee. If I say, Daniel, I just need some help, come take a look at this and do it in your way, whenever you get time, then you are a 1099 employee, and you're not subject to the taxes and the workers' compensation coverage and all that comes with being a W-2 employee.
The order isn't subject to that.
Excuse me?
The order isn't subject to those taxes.
Well, exactly.
The person receiving the money.
Yeah, no, we have to take care of that.
It is in Indiana, it'll be a W-2.
That's a
Okay.
federal law. It doesn't have anything to do with it.
So-
In Indiana, it's a state too.
Okay, so what Ron suggested is that we hire someone as a casual labor person to let them work. I mean, obviously, Brother Jonathan's gonna give them some direction, but it's not gonna be where, like, you come into an office and said, this is what you're expected to do, and you do this and you're gonna get paid. It can be a very loose relationship that the person can develop it in his or her own skill set. And we right now have casual labor budgeted to give someone $10 an hour. I really don't know that he's gonna find somebody who wants to work for $10 an hour for what he needs. So part of my financial question to you is that, do we help fund this because we believe doxology is important to the life of the order, and use the monies that we have on hand? The James White money is specifically for publications. We also got a bequest last year of $9,000, which was unsolicited and not given any kind of, use it for whatever. So it did not come with any strings.
Can we ask who that was?
Excuse me?
Can we ask who that was?
What?
Is it anonymous?
The
Request.
bequest.
Who the bequest came
Oh,
from?
I don't remember who it came from, some woman in Texas. So,
Okay.
I don't know, I got a lawyer letter and you've been given this money, hallelujah, put it in the bank.
Also, I ain't got that, it wasn't me.
We don't have it anymore.
And this is why I encourage this, we need to think about leaving the order in our estate planning. So I think we have to decide, number one, is doxology important to us that we want to financially support it? Brother Jonathan's doing an excellent job with this. But he is one person who's trying to teach, who's trying to have a family, who's trying to live a life, and this is a huge task. So I'm not sure what we do about it, but I want to help him fund it in a way that you all approve of.
I didn't hear him say just doxology. I
No.
thought he was saying.
Well, he included
OSL
publications.
Yeah.
You're unmuted, Jonathan, you don't have to raise your hand.
I know, but I know it's difficult to interrupt via a computer sometimes. So I would also say that, yeah, I was envisioning this as something beyond just doxology, but for publications more broadly. And for that reason, it would not just be me obviously giving direction, because I don't really have anything to do with the marketing or creation of the books. So I think it would kind of be a collaborative effort, but I also do think not only do I believe in doxology, but I also believe strongly in our books publications side of things. I think that's a place where we could do really good work in increasing our sales there.
Brother Mark?
Can I ask you a question, Brother Jonathan? I'm gonna ask you, but do the folks to whom you report or who oversee you at Notre Dame, do they like the fact that you're editor of doxology?
They do not care.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because my primary job is as a staff person working in campus ministry, and my teaching thing is as an adjunct. So yeah, they don't mind, but it doesn't really count for anything for me. It's not part of my regular.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It may somewhere down the line, depending on where you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
So they're supportive of it, but it doesn't really matter for my regular employment. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure as Abbott I'm supposed to throw in my 2 cents, but here it comes. The other thing I really like about the proposal of including publications is with Daniel's well-founded decision to step back on publications, and with the fact that I'm about 20 years into interim involvement in publications, and I'm the one who knows how to get the publication, the physical publication process through. I am desperate to have somebody else know how to do this. And I think this involvement is a very healthy thing for us. That's my 2 cents.
So what do we do?
I'd like to suggest that, this is not in the form of a motion at this point, but it seems to me we've got what Brother Jonathan is asking for. I think it needs a very clear position description so that the understandings of what this person would be expected of this person can be communicated in the process of hiring someone, and they know what they are to do. If they're not going to be receiving day-to-day instructions, then they need to be a self-starter, and the job description is going to be critical to their functioning and accomplishing what the order wants them to do.
And if I could add one more thing too, this is contingent upon kind of creation of a job description, is right now for our print design for doxology, we use Jessica Ping. Jessica is a Notre Dame graduate. She's living in London now, but someone I had connected with when we did the merger to doxology as kind of I need someone right now to start doing print design. And she's done an okay job, but she has a few things working against her. One is that she's very busy with other things. And 2 is that print design is not her primary areas. And 3, she doesn't really have very much expertise in things theological. So sometimes she's not catching errors that she should catch. So I would think, as much as I love Jessica, that if we were to hire somebody part-time, that the print design for doxology, and then maybe also for some of the book things, should go together. And then we might look at hiring somebody that would cover all of that and let Jessica go on her way, as it were.
Did you discuss how much money we're talking about?
Yes, 12 to 15,000.
Thank you.
Which is,
Does it need to be hourly to meet the requirements that we were talking about, so that it's 1099?
No.
It doesn't matter.
no, it's how the employee works.
Okay.
Because there's got to be an understanding there's no benefits. And you know, I would have to immediately resign if we're gonna get into the employment business, because I don't wanna be,
Yeah.
well, I don't wanna be responsible for
Sure.
that.
Could I suggest that rather than hashing this out right now, that we affirm Brother Jonathan's request, that we do, some team put together a position description, and is this time-wise critical for you, Brother Jonathan, in terms of if we did some work and brought it back to the council in the fall to approve the job description and the hiring, is that okay? Or
That sounds fine to me. I mean, we're rolling with the current system right now, so it's just a means of improving things for the future. Yeah.
Well, I also think that would give us time to think about the publication side of that, the books, since you're gonna go on to other things. Because you were doing a great job with the books and the acquisitions and things and royalties and all of that. But it would be nice if we had somebody, I don't know, does anybody feel called here to, well, everybody's got their head in.
No, and it's not fair to.
No, I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah. I have some thoughts just sitting here, not about me, but I mean, yeah, about, so I mean, if you appoint a task force, I don't want to be on it, but I have some suggestions that I might make to it that I've thought of here, but I don't know if I want to say them out loud.
Okay.
Right here, that's, you know.
Why pay our taxes? Just seeing that there are none, but we filed.
I would like to suggest to the team that from what I'm hearing, I think one of the major decisions will be to whom is this person responsible? And my experience is that the answer to that should not be a team. It should be a person.
Yes, that's right.
Easier.
Absolutely.
You suggested the idea that we form a team and then we bring that in October.
Yes.
Would you want to put that in the form of a motion so we can
I
move
move
on?
that the Abbott appoint a team of 3 to put together a position description that includes accountability, who that person is accountable to, understandings of the task. I'm not sure of the law language. And that they put together a position description to bring to the fall council for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Heather seconds. Is there further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Is anyone opposed? No. Unanimously approved. I will, before we are done with this council meeting, name a 3-person team to work on this, and we will bring it as a motion to the October council session, or general chapter session, whichever we set up.
Is that okay with you, Brother Jonathan?
Super, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your report, thank you for your work.
Oh, did he want an answer on the three issues, or is that the task force piece too?
Yeah, I don't have strong feelings on that one at this point, but I would love to hear the wisdom of the group on what you think about the publication schedule.
The 3 versus 4?
Right.
Questions for Brother Jonathan for?
I have a question. Brother Jonathan, what's your gut feeling about that? Do you want to stay at 4, and do you feel like things are really going to fill out, or do you think it's better to move to 3?
I don't really have a strong gut feeling on that, which is why I'm asking for the council's advice. I think it's good for future marketability to keep it at 4. It fits with what we've established as a schedule for a really long time for Sacramento Life at least. On the other hand, it would be a cost saving measure and it would ease the the kind of like cramming, the quick turnaround, I'll say, for the issues, especially ordinary time and Advent tend to get really cramped together because it's in the middle of the fall. So having a kind of a thrice yearly schedule would help with that.
Given the increase in subscriptions, what would the impact, do you think, of taking something that they just subscribed to that they thought was 4 a year and say, oops, no, it's only 3?
Right, that's a problem, right.
No, that has happened to a lot of journals, just have to say.
Christian Century did it.
Brother Brendan has been trying to get in.
I think we should stay with 4, but I also want to make a comment that one of the things that I find very attractive about the current way in which it appears is how it appears. And I think your use of art and illustrative material is excellent.
Yeah. Yes.
And while I don't want to suggest that that is filler, because it's not just filler, it's very appropriate to it, but it also does give you a little an accordion nature to filling a bit of that with appropriate material, and we know that what is chosen for that is so apropos and of such high quality that it merits being in a jury journal. And I just think you've done a magnificent job on that, but I think that does give us a little elbow room there in the editorial process. So congratulations and thank you.
Thanks, Sister Diane.
Sister Diane, did you have something?
Yeah, I don't think that moving to 3 issues would be that hard, just because we did make the move from having 0 doxology for several years. And
it was 1.
And then it was one a year, and so I don't, and even with Sacramento Light, there were some years that only 3 issues came out. So I think with appropriate sending out information to people that, and I think it's a heck of a lot of work to put out an issue, seeing what Brother Jonathan does. So I think it's, in the end, up to him, but I would support going to 3 issues.
Perhaps it might be worth waiting then until we figure out whether we're going to hire somebody, and then just kind of give it a year. And that'll also give a better sense of how whether the kind of increasing stream of submissions continues to increase or not. I mean, because it's only I figured in the first year, nobody would know what was going on and nobody would submit much, which was true. So I was soliciting everything. And in the second year, we got a little bit of submissions and I was still kind of soliciting people. And then in this last round, we actually did get some unsolicited submissions, which has been great. So maybe giving it another year might be wise to just see.
I just have a practical question. Are you ready for a mailing list for this next issue?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll send it to you, hopefully before the end of the day.
Sounds good. Great.
Thank you.
I don't know, I've been trying to send them an email for an hour.
Any other comments or questions for Brother Jonathan?
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. To me, you look like a little owl, but I'm sure at the other end of the owl, there's a real Brother Jonathan.
There he is. I am really here. And I will rejoin you all in the afternoon. I actually have to jump on a Zoom meeting with Marcel Stoyanagel, so.
Oh, tell him hi.
I will.
Take
Bye
care. Thanks so much for being with us.
Marcel.
I think.
So is he?
You ready, that meeting? Okay. We are ready for me. I gave you a couple pieces of paper. I want to start with the membership report, please. I've gone through the database and I'm trying to clean it up as best as I can. We are down to 392 active members, which is still a lot of members. And active is a flexible term. But anyway, I want to keep going in there and cleaning out because we don't want to waste money on postage and all that other kind of stuff. I've removed some people, and quite a few people, I think, still believe they're members of the order, but they haven't affirmed in like 10 years. So I've gone ahead and removed them, and Barbara, Sister Barbara, floods me with this email's wrong, that email's wrong. Well, it's because they haven't given me a new email. I can only do so much to get the email. We had an issue with a couple of our older members upset. They didn't know anything about last year's retreat. So for you Life family, you notice I highlighted, I need your email address, because if I don't have it, we can't communicate with you in any way, shape, or form. I still get the calls for OSL Today. I finally memorized that website because I get so many calls for them. In fact, there's a man out in Sacramento who is furious with me because I have not cashed his check nor sent him the things he thought he ordered from me. So I will call him back at some point in time and tell him he's got the wrong order again. We are now trademarked, so I'll direct you to this, the United States of America. And I share that with you because this runs in 2027. So whoever is running the show in 2027, you have to renew this or it goes away. And we are a registered trademark. And we did that because we had someone using our name inappropriately. And we also got hijacked a domain name, and it became a soft porn site. And I got a letter from the a penitentiary in South Carolina. We do not accept issues of bondage for our inmates. Please cease and desist from sending this material. So it was quite interesting material, but no, I did not send it. We are no longer the soft porn site, Brother Scott. When as soon as it
Make
came
sure
up
that
for
gets in the
sale,
minutes.
he rebought the domain name, and he has renewed the domain name for what, 9 years? One of them you renewed for.
One of them, I don't remember if that was stluke.com. Did we get stluke.com?
I don't know.
I've had COVID since then, I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. I hear you. I don't
What's
remember
the extra
anything.
income we'll be losing by doing that?
Huh?
What's the extra income we'll be losing?
By not running this.
Now, there was an area of publications that worked well right out of the gate. They were sending
have to solicit us.
all over the place.
Don't use that word solicit with that.
In relation to that site.
Yeah, so that's why I gave that to all of you. The attorney was very gracious with his fee. It was only $500, but I took my husband with me when I went. Colleague to colleague, you're not going to charge. I mean, he wanted to charge $2,500, and I said, no. You know, this doesn't require a lot of work. I understand what it requires. So we got that. Then we have our proposed budget with showing what we've spent. And the one thing I want to point out, there's a sheet of revenue and there's a sheet of expenses. Now, we have spent $40,400. We have taken in $35,800. So I know but we have a couple of expenses that this is proposed, I'm sorry. We budgeted $51,675 and took in $25,476.15. And we have a couple of expenses here that we probably will never pay for again. And that is Brother Scott and the technology we spent for that, the video equipment of $2,700. The orb cost us $86. We don't have music licenses for this retreat, do we? For
Not
this
that I'm
meeting?
aware of.
Okay, it's usually for October.
Well, yeah, it's because we're not
We're not
publicizing any of the.
streaming anything.
Right.
But when we
Streaming
stream, we need to
sure.
buy the licenses for that particular event.
But we are recording it and putting it up later.
Yeah, we need it for this meeting too.
We need it for this meeting too.
We did need the license for this meeting?
We did.
Okay, that's
As long as
fine.
you're putting it up
Here I
there.
go. Well, no, I have no internet, so I
It's-
can't.
I know, my internet.
It's not just-
I recorded it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very slow.
so those are the, the expenses that have gone up for us.
Can you keep to one page or the other? I'm sorry, I'm a little lost.
That's okay.
In what numbers you're
Let's look at
referring to.
revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I had hoped for more interest on our investments, which did not happen.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be so optimistic for next time. So I've only put in, hopefully we'll get $2,100 in interest on our investments. For our donations, I had hoped we'd get closer to $30,000. We only got 18 only. I mean, that's very generous. 18,435. So I'm optimistic that next year we will get 23.5. Our publications, we had budgeted 16.5. We've only sold 4,408.61. We are selling more through PayPal, which is oslpublications.com, than we are through Amazon. And our doxology subscriptions are there. Queensboro, we actually got a little bit of money there. So with publications, of course, we're in this transition thing. I didn't know what number to put there for next year because of the employment that Brother Jonathan is hoping for, and will we be able to sell enough product to cover that?
Well, if I'm reading this right, and I may not, we profited $1,096.76 on the print-on-demand things on
Yes,
Amazon.
correct.
We got $32.67 through our website when you go to publications and
Correct.
order. Where did the 4,408.61?
That's the total of all of that.
Oh, you total up?
Yeah, I totaled
The
up.
total
Your
above.
total and then the breakdown.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, because people were asking me for breakdown, and I wasn't able to work my QuickBooks because of having COVID. I just didn't have time to get in there and
Right.
do what I normally do. Brother Daniel, I think, had,
That's all right.
oh, Brother Mark.
Are you sure? Okay. So I am half blind sometimes, but what about the historical work budget? How much do we?
I'm sorry?
For the historian and our storage.
Yes,
project, where-
I have to add you. I realized I forgot the OSP.
But that's gonna be on the expenses page, not on the revenue.
Well, I
page,
hasn't
right?
spent anything.
What's it budgeted?
I will this year, it's gonna.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
It's gonna,
I thought about that as I was driving out, because I thought you did get a specific request to add to your $2,500 budget. So you have $3,000 to spend, and you hadn't spent anything, so
it'll
I
get used
think it
well,
was,
yeah, as I said.
yeah. So I do have to add,
But-
I have to add you in there as the OSP with a budget of 3,000.
There are two places I want to.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
So I will look at it, right, right.
Can I say something about the revenues on publications?
Sure.
Because we now have a good website to deal with publications, we are stopping doing as much on Amazon. The print on demand, obviously, we still go through Kindle Direct Publishing, but we don't, anything that we can get off of, order it and just buy it yourself from Amazon, but buy it off our webpage, we save a tremendous amount on what Amazon creams off the top that they get to keep.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have to continue to be aggressive about letting people know that ordering from the webpage, which is now easy to do, doesn't cost them more and gives us much more. So I think you'll see the PayPal line there continue to grow, and the Amazon line continue to decrease. And it will not be by equal amounts. We are better off if we can get it to come in through PayPal. And I don't even know that people think of that as PayPal, but ordering, if you order through our website rather than through Amazon's site, we benefit greatly.
You can just use a regular credit card. and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's, you don't have anything to do with PayPal. That's an internal thing that gets used, but it's not what a purchaser uses.
It makes our jobs for Brother Dean and I, we get an email, you sold this book, and he ships it and I collect the money. I just have to hit the button to collect the money and send it to the bank. So it's very, very easy for me. So, no, I'm sorry.
That's a change in the technology we're using that will benefit us. We are never gonna go back to, I mean, when this was something Brother Brent was doing, we were making, what, 20,000, 30,000 in publications. That's mostly the publications that we still have. That means people already own them. And we have valuable material that we have published from the order, but it is not going to have the volume of market that we had when we were doing textbooks for seminaries. So,
We need a new textbook. Did somebody write one?
yeah.
They have.
It is a profitable, although not highly profitable, valuable, extremely valuable ministry that we're in, and the technology is shifting under it in ways that will be beneficial to us. So that's just my bottom line on why the publications numbers look like they do, but don't expect the total sales to go popping back up to $20,000.
No, and what I can tell you, the best sellers right now are Brother Dwight's The Valley of the Shadow. That sells a lot of copies. Food for Pilgrims and our basic books. Your book has sold quite a few copies this year, Brother Mark. And so those have been the sellers primarily for this year. But most of them, you know, people got them and don't need them. So anyway, I just need some, it's not, of course it's not balanced, it's not out of whack too much, but I'd like to know if you think there's a way we can increase our revenue, because I don't want to cut out too many, I don't want to cut out what we do. I think what we do is very valuable and very important. Now you see on the second page of our expenses, we have the retreat scholarships there. We've left that at $3,500. Last year we spent $1,500. Our Hickman Awards have gone up because the cost to E. Preston Rice had gone up, and he had to replace one that got broken in shipment. We increased the honoraria because we have two chaplains general doing the worship, one online, Sister Kimberly, overseeing what's going on online, and Sister Celia, who's doing it here. And we have a lot of fixed expenses. I pay for the postage. I do one postage in the fall, and then any other postage we need, that's my donation to the order. And that can get pricey. That can get pricey. We paid $508, I don't know why I thought it was higher than that, for the new crosses.
That would be what I would expect.
We have an annual corporate report that we pay for every year to keep us legal there. And our doxology is, it may seem like it's expensive to send it out, but it's a lot cheaper than Print to Promote, who we were using before. This goes right through the Notre Dame FedEx office. And she calls me and I give her the credit card, it's paid and done, and end of story. We did something this year with Now that we hadn't done before. We couldn't sell books in Canada. So there was an opportunity to be a sponsor. I talked to Sister Elizabeth. What do you think? Should we be a sponsor? She said yes. So I sent in the money to become a sponsor. Sister Heather, I think you said you saw our presence there somehow?
Yes, yeah, it's, I'm trying to remember now, this was January, a lot has happened. But they have their snacks at particular time, and I think we sponsor one of them, and I think it was good. It was a while ago. I think I remember remarking like, oh, this is us, I'm proud, but.
You got our name in big letters on signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's important to this group. This is the liturgy group who writes and publishes and all that kind of stuff. And usually I go and babysit the book table while Brother Daniel and Brother Mark and Sister Heather mingle to help.
Work the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Never at those things. So what changes can we make to this? Should we make any changes to it? I mean, I can put a figure in there and make it balance, but yes.
But let's get real about revenue versus income. We operated at a $500 loss in a year where we spent $2,800 on video equipment, and we're not. So if we hadn't done that,
yeah,
we'd have been 2,300 ahead. So there's no panic here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
What is the 150956 under printing and shipping? There's no header there or.
That's for doxology, to send it out 4 times a year. We've sent out 3, I'm getting ready to mail them the 4th.
That's for
Oh,
one
so
of the
each of
shipments.
those are for one.
One
issue.
shipment, that's why we don't ship.
1358 for one, 1509 for another.
Yep, yeah. And the artist, Jessica, has upped her fee to $300, which is very reasonable for what she does. She was doing $200, now she's $300 an issue for what she does. Yeah, so it's a lot cheaper than it used to be. But I said we can't ship overseas, we just can't.
Yeah.
Not at $9, $10 an issue.
No.
Yeah.
So we can't, so I've got to get better, and we have to get better at, Brother Jonathan lets me know when it's up digitally for people to access. And we got to get that out to Sister Cynthia and put it on the website, so we can send a blurb that says, hey, if you want your doxology, it's digital, especially to our overseas brothers and sisters.
I know what my own feeling about it is, but is doxology printed and in your hand valuable enough for that expense, since it's available to us online? Now, I personally question how many of our members who receive issues actually read the thing, or does it just come and go into the stack of magazines that they get?
I don't know.
In our chapter, we did read from the last issue that, well, not the most immediate one, but the previous one. We spent some time reading that article and talking about it, but we could have just as well done so online. So I can argue it both ways. I mean, I love having it in my hand, but if people really want it.
Yeah, it should be an opt-in, because I read it online.
Well, we have a lot of people, as you know, Sister Diane, who want to get that.
Right, but could it be an opt-in as opposed to an opt?
I think it could be, right? We could fix that as a, I want a digital copy, I
Would
want.
that, would that be valid enough to raise the cost of it a little bit more?
Right.
If you want it, if you really want it in your hand, pay a little bit more for it then. It's a full register.
Well, the subscriptions run about $40 a piece when people subscribe. They're usually paying $40. Some of them pay 25.
For a year.
Depends.
Depends on what the magazine is.
Yeah,
But don't we give, it comes to members by virtue of being a member, whether you
Correct.
pay anything,
Correct. It's
dues
gratis.
or.
it's the benefit of being a member.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we could make
Yeah.
that part up in.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people who, they're not happy that the affirmation is online. I'd like to stop all that mailing, but I know I can't. I still have the affirmation to reaffirm your vows every year, it's online. Many people used it, many did not. So I still had to send out a mailing, which is expensive. I'm trying to wean us away from the physical mailing. But we have some folks who don't feel they're getting anything unless they get that annual hunk of mail or that doxology. So I don't know what the answer to that is.
What are the mechanics of doing what Sister Diane said, opting out?
I don't know, I think you just make it on the form, right?
On the,
I prefer to.
Yeah, I'm
get
saying
it.
an opt-in, so if you want a print copy, you have to, otherwise you won't get a print copy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I prefer print copy. We did that with the font.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then people who don't want it
Yeah.
or prefer to read it online,
Right.
we won't spend the money on them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great idea.
Let me work on that.
Make it so.
Do check with Brother Jonathan.
Yeah,
Now that
That's
it's a
hubris,
slick
John.
magazine, I don't know what kind of minimums we're looking at.
what kind of what?
Minimum
Oh,
press
yeah.
release.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you get enough.
She's at the actual door.
Oh. Okay, well, let me clean this up then, and I'll present it. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah,
On video equipment, because last year we were able to spend, and I'm thankful for the technology.
amen.
Do you need to have money in it for next year, or so there might be some adjustment that you could make of the 5,000?
I don't, so let's look at the video. Yeah, so the video equipment, this is a one-time expense.
Right.
The website hosting costs have gone down at least
Considerably.
tenfold,
Mhm.
just because of how I've got it set up now. As I see domain names coming up, I snatch them up. That's where that $100 is. Hosting costs, it rolls, I've got it, so all of my websites come out of the same bucket, and I consider that my contribution to the order, but I think it's $13.50 a month. So that just goes into my big bucket of Linode bill. Yeah, so I think, now that we've got the OWL for zooming and the video cameras, the Mevos for the streaming, I think that's a one-time cost. We can definitely come down on that. We will need to be very conscious about our licensing for anything that goes online.
Yes,
But you might be able to adjust the 5,000 to 3,000.
yeah, and when Brother Scott and I talked about this, I said, get what you really need. Let's not have to buy it now and then have to buy it later. And make sure you can stick it in a suitcase, right? We didn't want you to have to be dragging all this stuff with you.
We should put it in a
Because I'm very
cage.
practical about that. Let's buy it right the first time so that we don't have to buy it again. And I think there's an assumption that we're gonna Zoom and Facebook and YouTube, everything we do from here on out because of that wonderful retreat we did in 2020, 2022, COVID year.
2020. 2020 is when we had our retreat online.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it was.
They all blur together now.
I'm so confused.
Clover Security, what is that?
I was not paying.
Where?
You're not sure.
Under your member services?
Oh, Clover Security is the credit card, for me to run the credit card on the computer.
All right, thank you.
Now that has, in fact, they kicked me out when I went to process some late affirmations and donations because I hadn't used it since January. People are using the PayPal. So, you know, we're using the Clover, the credit cards, fewer and fewer. But we have some people who won't use PayPal because of their politics. I don't know what that's about, but you use it?
I ignore all those things.
Do you
Yes,
use
I
it? I use it too.
Could you not, process cards through your PayPal account without having it separate?
Must used to own them.
I don't know how much that would cost
Go to
us.
Chick-fil-A.
I don't. I don't know. I could check that out.
I would,
And see.
especially if people are going that way.
Yeah, they're going that way. The other thing we have is, oh shoot, you made me forget what I was gonna say. Anyway, I could find out how much that costs. The PayPal expenses are listed there, what they take out of us. The heck did I put that? I guess I didn't put it down. Clover, postage, website, I had PayPal. All added up. All right, well, I missed that. I have to clean that up.
It's on
I
the first
apologize.
page. The revenue page.
Is it on the revenue page?
Maybe that's net.
That's what we netted for publications, but I had an expense. Oh, I put it, no, that's netted. We had an expense of fees about 200 and change for that. So I will, I'll make this balance, I'll clean it up, and we'll bring it back in October for the budget approval. Will that be okay with you, Sister Ellen? Okay, and hopefully I'll be.
Sister Jeanette, if you need help because of COVID, let me know.
Thank you.
Sister Jeanette, just on your revenue page, the publications line 440861, just double check what's going into that. No combination of what's below it adds up to that.
Oh, okay.
The bottom 5508, that's correct.
Okay,
But
thank
there's
you.
something amiss in that.
In the publications,
the
yeah.
line,
I will check that, thank you. I probably put the thing on the wrong line.
It happens. It's easy to do, yeah.
Well, I can't tell you how much COVID has affected my ability
Yeah.
to process stuff
Yeah.
and enter data and that kind of thing. So, but I think I have us straightened out. When I upgraded to Windows, whatever it was, 11, somehow everybody in Servant Keeper became a resident of the Philippines. The United States disappeared from the database.
Well, at least they weren't all on 8th Street in Claremont, California. It happened to be great.
That's what they all want.
So, you know, I'm trying to be so careful with the software and the protections and all that kind of stuff, so. Okay, thank you, that was all I had. And, oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about, maybe we should talk about later. We have our money with the West Virginia United Methodist Foundation. Do we want to keep it there? Do we want to move it from there, given all the disaffiliation and all the other stuff that's going on? Do we want to move it to the New Jersey Foundation? Do we want to put it with a financial person? I don't know what we want to do with that, so I'd like to.
Socially conscious investing might not involve the United Methodist Church, right?
Yeah, that's the only good thing about the foundation is you know it's socially invested.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
What's happening in the West Virginia Conference? Are you who are no longer a member?
I have no notion. I know more about East Ohio than I do West Virginia.
I just know that with the churches disaffiliating and the United Methodist Church imploding, you know, I just wanted to bring it up because now is the time to think about that if we want to move it.
New England has been partnering with the West Coast and it's now called the Interfaith Credit Union. So they're, we're thinking ahead, and it's not tied
Interfaith.
completely with the UMCA.
Interfaith,
Sure,
I've
it's
seen.
socially invested still, and they're bringing
I
in
remember.
other denominations and other faith traditions.
Interfaith
Right, it's not an
credit.
investment firm, they hold investments.
Basically like a bank.
What you could do is research some options and bring us some choices
In October.
in October.
Yeah, I could do that.
I
And
think
talk
that
to
would be-
your, whoever manages your and Ron's stuff, because there are mutual funds that are socially conscious.
Correct. We had that at my church. Yeah. Yes.
And and some banking institutions, like credit unions, are offering amazing interest rates right now. I mean, so that might be a good move too.
Okay. I can definitely do that. Do you want to contact your financial person and see if they have a socially conscious avenue of investment?
The California one might be a good one to
I
look
know
at.
the Texas Methodist Foundation is really stable right now, so.
They're stable?
Yeah.
TMF is good.
Yeah, well, most of those places are independent in terms of fiduciary responsibilities.
Yeah.
Right, that's a necessity. Right, so they're.
Yeah, they're not tied up into the church's politics.
Right.
Right. I don't know. I'll ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the United Methodist Foundation of West Virginia has nothing to do with the annual conference other than its name.
Correct.
Sharing it.
Yeah, but I just know how, is it time to move it before we elect new officers and try to put all this stuff in place. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay.
I don't think Baubles and Beads is on the agenda at all.
No.
Would you like to be?
I'm wondering if as a revenue item,
Yeah, I need something.
that might throw it in now, or would you rather?
Sure.
Okay. We've got, while I was setting up an online store for one of my clients, I found a print-on-demand provider for baubles and beads. They will do coffee mugs. You'll have to link it. I don't know how to do that. But you'll be able to go on, and they actually make the coffee mug when the person orders it. We don't have any invested inventory or anything, and they ship it. We can also make OSL tennis shoes.
They're red, I hope.
Red, yes.
Well, if you want to look on my eBay store, I did put a
send out the
mug
link.
that I would think of as an OSL product up on there,
What's,
which has the phrases of the rule in life and service, of life and service.
Oh, my gosh.
Give us the link.
Let me see if I don't know if I can even. It's St. Sturmius Shop on eBay, but I don't know if we've got enough.
And, is that spelled out or ST?
ST dot, I think. I don't know, I punch a button, I don't look.
Read it to us when you find it.
Who's Saint what?
It's not gonna come up. Sturmius, Sturmius. He was a student of Boniface.
A student of what?
Boniface.
You totally made that up.
No, I did not.
Spell it one more time.
Sturmius.
I think this, I call.
Sturmius.
This is just.
Sounds like a detergent.
Good enough.
It sounds like something's in your back pocket.
I have a Sturmius right here.
Sturmius dot.
Sturmius Maximus.
Just go to ebay.com and search for St. Sturmius Shop.
Oh, is that?
Do we get a percentage of that?
Well, no, that's my store right now,
Okay.
but,
Okay.
yeah, mine won't come up at all. But I did put a mug on there just so you'd see it. And it's a word cloud of the phrases of the rule of life and service.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
So it affirm the apostolic of various
We'll all
imperatives.
go on at the same
Yeah,
time and suck out the.
I post them on eBay as post-paid, because the inner workings work better that way.
Yeah.
So an 11-ounce mug is $12.99, shipping and all. If you buy 2, you can take 10% off for, 10% off for 2, 20% off for 3. I think it goes to 30% off for 4.
Do you have this set up
Yeah, on
for
my,
us?
I wasn't thinking that we wouldn't have good internet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got it right there.
But what you have set up is your store, but you're saying you could
What?
set up an OSL
I would
store.
set up an OSL store, and it will have there'll also be an Etsy store. And we'll
Oh.
also put the same products on our website.
Good.
Is that hard for you? Is that a lot of
No,
work?
it was amazingly simple.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how to put it on our website. That's-
Sacramento Life High Top Sneakers.
For Brendan.
That is a little.
The scholar in me would not let go of that one because I thought he was pulling my leg and all of our legs.
No.
Saint Sturm, also called Sturmius, was a disciple of Saint Boniface, founder and first abbot of the Benedictine monastery and abbey at Fulda in 742. Sturm's tenure as abbot lasted from 747 until 779. You are vindicated.
I have an icon of the dude. We call him the old man, because the Sturms immigrated to North America in the 1670s from Fulda. So.
Who knew?
I found this quite.
You left that mousetrap for me just wide open.
Would this store include the Queensboro stuff, or are you
No,
gonna?
you'd still have to have a separate Queensboro
Queensboro,
store.
okay, because as you see, we get very little money from that.
Yeah, and which means we must not be selling very much.
Well, I
We
don't
get-
know that people understand, again, you gotta go to the website and order
Yeah.
your own stuff.
We get 25% on that.
Yeah.
The way I have it set up on my eBay store, the $12.99 we get 40% of the part that isn't shipping. We don't get anything on shipping,
Okay.
but did somebody see the Sacramento Life
I
tennis
can't
shoes?
find Yes. So I just searched for the item, so like Sacramento Life High Top Sneaker, and then you can find the store from there.
And I also have a mug on there that's the traditional hours of daily prayer, matins, lauds, church. Those are my items.
Brother Daniel.
Sister Barbara Lee just texted me, Dick came through surgery fine, no stent, but medical management. So, rejoice.
Thanks be to God. Anything else for Bubbles and Beads?
That's it. If y'all are cool with it, I'll set that up and.
As long as we can call the sneakers the Sturmies.
The Sturmies. You too can get a pair of Sturmies.
Go right with your Yeezys.
I was gonna say, you can sell Yeezys.
You can sell Sturmies.
Sturmies.
I just keep, there's an old, New Christine Minstrels did a thing about like American heroes, and then Storm Along was one of the great, heroes of the American, right? So I keep thinking Sturm Along.
Sturm Along.
Sturm Along. You have a whole song for it.
Oh my goodness, clothes.
But and I'll figure out what the OSL, we'll find something that's available on all the platforms.
I am going to suggest that even though it's a few minutes early, rather than scrunching in another report, that we go immediately to what is the combination of mid-morning and midday, and I'm not sure what else, to Brother Scott.
Brunch prayer.
We're gonna have sex.
I thought we took that website down.
Not in the chapel, though.
Not in the chapel.
And not with the orb.
So I don't know what's in the printed handout, but put it away.
Happiness way too fast for me.
Open up your web browser.
Sometimes they go by like that.
I know.
Ah,
Open up your web browser.
Will it?
You're really slow.
We have no
That's fine.
Wi-Fi.
We can take our time. saint-luke.net /WADO.
Oh, I just get that anyways.
What's that?
If I take SAI, it goes there anyways,
just
because
goes
I
there
go
anyway?
there every day.
I cannot do
Good
that.
Lord, it is.
It'll be wild.
Can you say that again, because I wasn't ready? Saint-Luke.
.net /WADO. Watto.
The internet has always been very reliable with all of us. I know,
Yes, there's something.
there's something wrong.
It's the deer. Yeah.
The turn is not going. Look, you're offering me
Took
cookies.
too long to respond.
I want some cookies.
No, SAI.
Peanut butter?
I don't think I
Yeah,
can
that's
do it.
right, spelled out. We are a mess, aren't we?
Flaming hot.
If it won't let us in, can we use it from the Red Book?
I suppose.
Okay, just, since we're like maxing out things
But
here.
it's so cool.
I got it on
Oh, you did?
data.
Better vision than I do.
I guess we have to
I
use.
can't, this doesn't hook up to the internet, and this is tiny.
Brother Scott. And anyone else, does anyone have a USB-C to lightning adapter?
Upstairs.
Okay, that's fine. Can I borrow it? Thank you.
It might be in the chat, but one of the places, yes, I do.
Okay, because my iPad won't charge and I'm trying out different
It's trying to.
permutations.
It's also page 36 in the Red Book.
No, it's not. It's just got to finally come up.
Did it come?
No, mine's still
Yeah,
spinning.
here, so I'm just gonna do it.
I just got it on my phone, with data, not with.
36.
Really, coming out of the sun. Well, it's under events, right?
Well, no,
So
you want-
if you just,
Right, but that's daily offices underneath.
if you just get to,
We are, but.
It's also in the worship.
Is the worship book for Sex Club? Or did you do mid-morning prayer?